Sometimes the most profound spiritual insights do not arrive in the depths of meditation, nor in the middle of the most intense action. They arrive in a moment of stillness, in between those two opposites. A few days ago, I saw this video on Instagram. She was actually smiling and singing the lyrics to Swim. And the caption of the video was something like, literally keep swimming. I had the first few seconds of shock, actually. Like, given the situation she was in, but also everything about it showed clearly she was safe. Yet, all of this was in the middle of a natural disaster situation. To know that moment when something catches you completely off guard and you don't know whether to laugh or cry. Like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And then you realize it might actually be both. The girl was clearly making a joke, and she was keeping her sense of humor in the middle of the situation and showing her love for BTS. In fact, the next few seconds after the shock was gone, immediately after, I was in awe of how BTS reaches and is by the side of people in such critical conditions and helps them keep their sense of humor and the joy of life. The message of the video was more about how to acknowledge the severity of the life situation you may be in and keep swimming through the hardships because you're not alone ever. I zoomed out further because it's just these things just happen to me. Something triggers it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was propelled in a state of void and awe at the deepened realization of the meaning of BTS's impact on people across the planet. Then I was left speechless and I felt like crying because suddenly I dived into new depths of my own soul. And the same question I have not yet found an answer to arose. What is the meaning of my own life? Maybe you recognize this. Maybe you have built something, you're working on something, you have a direction, you know more or less what you're supposed to do with your life. And yet, somewhere beneath all of that clarity and momentum, the question surfaces quietly and insistently, the way a compass keeps pointing to a place you have not yet looked. What is the meaning of my life? I mean, I have a direction with the Let Spirit platform, and I have the skills to do something about it, both in terms of coaching, writing books, making videos, for example. So it's more about being healthy and live long enough to succeed in making it happen. And for the past 5 years, transitioning towards this felt like the answer to this question. Felt like this is the meaning of my life, to do this. And yet, the day I saw that video, I heard this question inside me again. What is the meaning of my life? I mean, with my spiritual contribution, my experience, because I was like in a kind of incubator for spiritual practice and karma yoga for 15 years, cut off from the normal society and living the ashram life. And after 5 years of transitioning from that into having a normal job and then quitting that job to develop Let Spirit and living by the mercy of God and my soon to finish savings while assisting my 80 years old mother, I seem to be back where I started 20 years ago, apparently. The only difference is my level of consciousness. And then I'm questioning, like, what am I doing with that? On what plane? Okay, I have a direction, I have skills. I just need to stay healthy. which is quite a requirement also. But what is actually the meaning of my life? If you have ever walked out of a long chapter of your own life, a relationship maybe, a system you have been, a version of yourself that you outgrew, maybe you changed your job, maybe you changed your career. Anyhow, you got out of somewhere, big, long, deep, meaningful chapter finished, and then you found yourself standing in what remained, wondering what all of that time that you spent doing that and developing in that direction, what was that for? You will actually understand this feeling that I'm talking about. And what I think I mean to say with this is that if meditation takes me into a mental void without worrying about acting in any way, like doing an action, seeing this video with this girl in the BTS swim context took me deeper than any of my best meditations, to a truth that encompasses some cosmic opposites, not just the already classic by now yin and yang, the good and bad and all of that. Just stay with this for a moment because I think it matters. Sometimes the most profound spiritual insights do not arrive in the depths of meditation, nor in the middle of the most intense action. They arrive in a moment of stillness, in between those two opposites. And I began to wonder, is there any difference between a spiritual master who radiates truth through mere invisible presence across a radius of thousands of kilometers, only in the subtle level, and who practically interacts with a handful of disciples, or perhaps has a school with just a few hundred students who venerate him? So, is there a difference between that and BTS as a phenomenon, with everything this means, like the employees, the coordinators, the fans, the money involved, the economic impact, the cultural impact, the security required? In short, everything. Both mirror each other in parallel planes. And yes, the difference is, besides the level of consciousness of the master and of the BTS, there is the difference of condensation. BTS and everything around them is happening in a condensed, very concrete plane here on Earth, with a lot of logistic involved and a lot of people involved to make everything happen. A spiritual master, even if he has a physical body and some students, he operates from an etheric plane, like free from this concrete limitation, to a certain extent at least. How is it for you? From which level are you actually living your life? Are you fully in your body, letting the weight of the material world be your teacher? Or are you hovering just above it, practicing your spirituality from a comfortable distance, from the safety of the yoga mat maybe, or meditation pillow, but that also meaning never quite landing in the physical properly? How is it for you? Because the question about the meaning of your life might live exactly at the intersection of these two. I guess I am at some crossroads in my life where the roads actually don't split anymore, but they somehow merge. Maybe you are at the crossroads too. Not that kind that demands to choose a direction, but the kind where the very idea of choosing begins to feel like the wrong question entirely. Because while I see the clear distinction between a physical world, limited by time and space, the condensation processes, and the astral world, where these limitations are gone, basically, I now see, or rather I sense, the common denominator being the level of consciousness. It literally stays the same once you wake up. And I believe now that these layered dimensions are not an expression of separation, but they are more like the steps of a ladder, from the most dense to the most ethereal possible. In fact, all the way to light itself, and then backwards. I feel this classic metaphor, the stairway to heaven, is more like a status quo than a bridge between worlds, while still being the bridge. These do not exclude each other. I'm saying this because I was having this intense and mind-blowing experience the other day while at the doctor, waiting for some medicine that my mother needs, and using the waiting time to catch up with BTS in Mexico. And then this video with this girl popped up and triggered a completely unexpected yet desired experience. Unconsciously desired, but still, I wanted that. It touched me to tears. I really feel like crying, and I had to hold them back because, well, when you're waiting at the doctor's office, or at least me, when I'm surrounded by daily life people, and besides, from the doctor, I had to go shopping, then I do hold back these emotions. But I felt like walking between worlds while going shopping. People are passing by, I was passing by people, and they looked like walking blue lights, dressed with dark and heavy winter coats as their bodies. Everything made sense, yet there were so many questions regarding pure existence. And yes, this state diminished gradually the heavier the shopping bags got, which I had to carry home by hand because I don't have a car. A very dense physical reality, while my spirit was roaming freely, seeing basically no difference between my spiritual master, BTS, and myself, at the core of who we are. That gap between what your soul can see and what your hands are carrying, it might be the most honest place a spiritual being in a human body can stand. The differences are obviously in the meaning of each of our lives and the level of condensation we are at. But that is what makes us unique, isn't it? Come to think of it. There is no comparison here and no better or worse. It is simply an intense longing to find this inner answer. What is the meaning of my life? Do you know what is the meaning of your life? I don't mean the career or nor the spiritual resume, but the soul level meaning of your life this time. If something in what I just shared touched something in you, stay with it. Do not rush to give an answer. I personally have made big, daring life choices to be able to follow the call of my soul and to fulfill the meaning of my life. And while I'm doing it, I am still actually wondering, what is it? What could that be? So how is it for you? Just give it your time to just ponder upon it. And at some point, later in the evening, after you watch this video, I would really appreciate if you share in the comments how you feel about it. Let spirit